The warrior's choice. I stood before the man who had sworn to destroy me. His blade had been sharpened by hatred, his heart hardened by war. He was my enemy. But I saw something deeper. Not a monster, but a man. The air was thick with the scent of blood and ash. The battlefield stretched endlessly, littered with the fallen, soldiers who had died believing their cause was just. How many had perished in the name of pride? How many had been swallowed by a conflict neither side could truly win? For years we had fought. His warriors had burned my villages, my armies had shattered his walls, the blood of our people had stained the earth in an endless cycle of vengeance. Yet now we stood face to face, no armies, no banners, just two men, bound by a war older than either of us. His name was Lord Varric, feared across the land, a general of unmatched strategy, a warrior whose hands had felled countless lives. To him, I was no different. Just another enemy to be cut. Down. Just another name to be forgotten beneath his sword. He raised his blade, expecting me to strike. But I did not. I threw down my own blade. The battlefield froze. Soldiers on both sides held their breath. Even the wind seemed to pause, as if the world itself did not understand what had just happened. Varric's eyes, once burning with rage, flickered with something else. Doubt. "Why?" he growled, his voice like thunder. "Why do you not fight?" His hands tightened around the hilt of his sword. He was ready to end me, to carve the final chapter of our conflict with one decisive blow. But I met his gaze, unafraid. "Because winning is not destroying," I said. "True victory is when your enemy chooses to lay down his sword." He laughed, a harsh, hollow sound. "Fool, you think kindness will end this war?" "No," I replied, stepping closer, "but understanding might." And then I did the unthinkable. I reached out my hand. It was the gesture of a madman. A warrior does not extend his hand to an enemy. To do so was to court death. And yet, I did. The battlefield seemed to hold its breath. His fingers twitched on his sword. I could see the conflict raging within him. Years of blood, of loss, of purpose. Could a single moment unravel it all? For a long, terrible moment, he did nothing. His men stood waiting. My men stood waiting, and the gods themselves seemed to watch. Then, in a slow, almost imperceptible motion, he let his sword fall. It struck the earth with a soft thud, the sound quieter than I expected, yet louder than the roar of war. His men stared, their faces twisted in confusion, disbelief, even fear. How could their lord, unyielding, unbreakable, surrender? To a mere word, but this was no surrender, this was choice. He looked at me, and in his eyes I saw something I never expected. Not defeat, but release. At that moment, my greatest enemy became my greatest ally, and together we ended a war that generations of bloodshed had failed to erase. It was not easy. There were those who called me weak. Some of my own men abandoned me, believing I had betrayed them. But those who remained saw the truth. They saw that a peace won through understanding was greater than a victory won through blood. Varric and I stood side by side in the years that followed. He became not just my ally, but my brother in purpose. And the war that had ravaged our lands became a story, a warning to those who would seek to revive its flames. I destroyed my enemy by making him my friend. Because true power is not found in conquest. It is found in changing a heart. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the story. Let me know in the comments what ideas you would like the next story to be about. Please leave a thumbs up, share, subscribe, comment.